Hello everyone. Escape from prisons. Prisoners have always tried to escape at all times and in all countries since the existence of prisons. In most cases, attempts to escape to freedom end in failure. But this is not always the case. Sometimes you not only get to read about the next escape in the newspaper, but also see everything with your own eyes. A round of applause to all the surveillance cameras that are now in all police stations of correctional institutions. So today's video contains the most incredible, daring and ridiculous prison escapes caught on camera. Escape by helicopter. The script of some shoots, especially cinematic ones, is striking in its elaboration. Every detail is taken into account. Everything is scheduled in seconds. In reality, not all attempts to get out are as impressive. In this recording, convicts Danny Provenzale and Benjamin Hudenbauer can be seen as they desperately tried to climb the rope. A rope hanging from a hijacked helicopter that landed on the roof of the prison. It's almost a James Bond movie. But what should have been a cool, quick escape lasted almost 6 minutes. However, the guards did not intervene. Would you like to see how it all ends? Okay, in fact, they just didn't have the weapons to face an armed criminal, so the guards chose not to risk it. And although the prisoners still managed to get out of prison, they, along with their accomplices, were arrested just a few hours later. The helicopter pilot was not injured. Bulldozer attack. In 1995, 12 prisoners escaped from a Copenhagen prison at the same time. They did not need to dig a tunnel or hijack a helicopter. They used a bulldozer instead. The construction machine rammed the fortified prison wall and destroyed it, and the convicted criminals rushed through the gap formed into the field. 3 were detained almost immediately. In addition, the operator was suspected. Law enforcement officers suspected that he knew about the bulldozer attack in advance. And the police said that the escape may have been timed to coincide with a football match, which took place at a stadium nearby. It's that moment when the prison walls cannot restrain your desire to cheer for your favorite team. Garbage escape. All means are available for escapes. Von Andy Dufresne crawled into freedom through the sewers. Looks like that's what Justin Stambler and Jeremy Hunt talked about. They had good behavior and therefore worked in the prison kitchen. It turned out that this place was a direct path to freedom. The boys hid in the food dumps, which were then taken outside the prison as usual. Once free, the prisoners climbed out of the containers and fled. However, they were noticed by an unknown witness and immediately reported to the police. 3 other convicted criminals were charged with helping Stabler and Hunt escape, and the fugitives themselves were immediately put on the wanted list. Detailed instructions. 3 inmates in a California jail recorded their escape plan using a cell phone, and then apparently also filmed a video describing the details of the daring prison break. The 15-minute, meticulously edited clip includes the voice of one of the alleged fugitives explaining in detail what was done and how, and even makes a reference to Houdini and his famous release trick. Prisoner Adam Hussein Nayari said they needed tens of meters of strong rope, tools, clothes, shoes, and much more to escape. To get out of the prison, Nayari and his comrades cut off the metal ventilation grill. From there, they entered the building's plumbing system and then climbed onto the roof. It is not clear how they then managed to get down and leave the territory of the prison, but it happened. The fugitives hid from the police for more than a week until they were finally caught. Flash escape. Sometimes for a spectacular escape, it is enough just to act very quickly and as decisively as possible. This video was filmed at the Porter County Jail, where the police took a guy named Michael Maldonado. He made several attempts to escape that day, but only the last one was successful. The officers asked the prison staff to back them up, but there was no one to back them up. As a result, Maldonado, choosing the right moment, simply ran out of the car, rushed at high speed to the closing turnover, dived under them and disappeared. The closing garage door prevented them from immediately pursuing Maldonado. The officers made excuses that they repeatedly pressed the communication button and tried to open the door to the outside on their own, but it all took time. While the police fought with the doors, Maldonado managed to escape, and even 2 hours of persistent searches with a dog led nowhere. through the window. Escaping through a window seems to be a fairly simple way, but not in the case of a 30 to 76 centimeter window. If you are not a cat, we do not recommend repeating something like this. Derek Estelle, 34, has not been tried for the first time. Then he was in prison for stealing a car and shooting at the police, but it seems he was not going to serve his sentence. The prisoner developed an unusual escape plan with 2 accomplices, and while one of them distracted the police with conversation, Estelle quickly climbed through the tiny window and started to run. Before that, he spoke on the phone, but it was obvious that the call was also rigged. In just a few short moments, the prisoner ran out of the building, sat down expectantly in his car, and disappeared into an unknown direction. It happened so quickly that none of the guards had time to really react. Estelle and his accomplice were immediately put on the wanted list. Handcuffs. We used to think that only magicians and some secret agents can get free of handcuffs. You know, the ones that always carry a set of matching paper clips, a laser, and a parachute? However, this is not about them, but about a woman named Amber Gonzalez. She was detained from stealing from a hotel and placed in a cell. Amber was left alone with her mobile phone to arrange for a deposit, but while checking the messages, the woman paid very much attention to her handcuffs. She jerked her hand so persistently that in the end she was able to simply pull herself out of the handcuffs. At the same time, according to the police, everything was buttoned up as tightly as possible, but Amber, whose weight is about 44 kilograms, did not stop it. And she left the police station so fast that no one realized what had happened. The woman walked through the courtyards to a gas station, where she met a truck driver and then drove to the same hotel. There, she was found by the police an hour after her escape. Window and insolence. What does a person who is arrested for a violation and taken into the sheriff's office do? He worries, calls a lawyer, or on the contrary, behaves like a cool gangster. In general, there are options, but this one literally goes beyond the scope. A 17-year-old boy named Quanton Schwarz-Lowe was arrested at school and placed in an interrogation room the same day. But as soon as the officer closed the door behind him, the guy, without hesitation, opened the window and jumped out gracefully, Scott Pilgrim style. Despite the fact that Quanton Schwarz-Lowe fell from a height of about 4 meters, he was not injured, and he got up and ran away from the police station. 2 surveillance cameras recorded this daring escape. Only 14 minutes later, the officer finally returned to the interrogation room. We do not know what he was doing all that time and why he left the suspect unattended for so long. Whatever it was, it turned out to be a big mistake. By the time the policeman noticed the disappearance, Quanton Schwarz-Lowe was already far away. The guy was caught only 3 hours later at a friend's house. And now there are bars on the windows in the police department. Mr. Fantastic. This is the second mention of superheroes in today's video, but we honestly find it difficult to give the hero of this video any other description. In the city of Azerbaijan in the Republic of Dagestan, a guy detained for theft escaped from the isolation ward through a window for serving food. We have already had shoots through the windows, but this tiny hole is another matter entirely. To zip through it, you have to be either very thin or very flexible. To zip through it, you have to be either very thin or very flexible. The escape occurred at night and was captured by a surveillance camera. The footage shows a naked young man squeezing through a narrow window. Moreover, he does it so slowly and rather carefully. Did he rehearse the escape before he made up his mind? How would the guards react if they were in the hallway at that moment? Could the guy be pulled back quickly? So many questions.